Can we get that door shut?
Okay, welcome back, viewers. We're still here live from GameCore. We're on round 3 of the Championship Series 2, and I'm fortunate enough to have John sitting in with me while James on a quick break. So we'll be able to have the professional view and opinions straight from owner here, right here at GameCore.
All right, this should actually be a pretty interesting matchup. We're getting the names updated. We're actually going to have Jamison Taylor running, it looks like a 4-color Reanimator versus Vincent Tundo running the human Reanimator list. So a battle of the graveyards here.
After seeing that last game, John, how's this one going to play out? Is it going to be a little bit quicker, more battling going on? Last match there definitely took a little while with each guy just kind of stalling out. What's this going to play out like?
Sure, yeah. Well, the last matchup was a control mirror match. You know, I'm not sure how the 4-color Unburial Rights, the Reanimator, is going to play out. But the Vincent Tundo list, you know, that's actually kind of more of an aggressive deck. So I'm very curious to see how these two decks match up. This is kind of a new matchup, really, with the human Reanimator deck just kind of surfacing within the last week or so. So it looks like the players have decided. I'm not sure who's playing here. We'll see who's got the first draw here. But Vince Tundo actually with a very strong finish in the Grand Prix Toronto. He just took 48th place, so congratulations to him. Very capable player. Jamison Taylor, no slouch either. So Vince Tundo leads us off, and he's got the no, I'm sorry, we got the names. Yeah, the names are backwards. So Caverns comes down, naming humans. Avacyn's Pilgrim. Faithless Looting here by Vince Tundo. All right, and if we can get a hand cam here and kind of see what these guys got going on in their hands, so we can maybe come up with. All right, so with this view, with the glare, we're not going to be able to see much anything.
What just happened there? I saw a Thragtusk over in a graveyard. Why is he over there so soon in the game?
Okay, because what the players are trying to do right here is they're trying to put higher cost, high power creatures into the graveyard as early as possible, and then use Unburial Rights to get you know, the opportunity for 4 or 5 mana, bring something out of the graveyard and get it for cheap.
Now are both decks going to be running with that strategy?
Well, first of all, it looks like Jamison Taylor has dropped to 19 off of a swing from the Avacyn Pilgrim. And yes, both players, their strategies are similar. However, with Jamison Taylor, what he's looking to do is he's looking to drop just absolute fatties. I mean, we have his list here. So he's got Grizzlebrand. He has 4 Angel of Serenity. He's got the Thragtusks. It's pretty common at this point. He's got Acidic Slime. You know, he's looking to drop the more traditional fatties, Craterhoof Behemoth, stuff like that, and just kind of overtake the game. Whereas the human Reanimator list is actually more of a combo list. So what this deck's doing is it's looking to mill out its graveyard in the same way, and it uses Chronic Flooding, which is the enchantment that is just starting to see some play with this list here. Blue and a colorless, enchant target land, tap, mill target player for 3 cards. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to fill up his graveyard with humans and then play Angel of Glory's Rise, which actually reanimates all humans. So he has the opportunity, rather than having just, you know, a bunch of big creatures that he's likely not going to hardcast, he has a bunch of cheap guys that he can hardcast, he can trade, let die in combat because it's no big deal. Also mill them to his grave and then cast the Angel of Glory's Rise and just bring up his whole graveyard. And it's got a really neat interaction between Nightshade Peddler and the Izzet Static Caster, where the Izzet Static Caster is able to tap and shoot a creature or player for 1 point of damage. When it's been soul bond with a Nightshade Peddler, it shoots for Death Touch. So Okay, and Avacyn's Pilgrim swings again, putting Jamison Taylor to 18.
I realize that Taylor's got a weak amount of land out there for his mana pool and base. With the burial rights, is that going to affect or hurt him by not having enough land if he doesn't start getting some here? What is the cost to play some of those cards out of his graveyard? I know Thragtusk is a 5-drop type card. Is burial rights that much cheaper to play?
Well, Burial Rights is also a 5-drop card. However, when it's in the graveyard, it's only 4. Now, I don't necessarily agree with what Jameson has done here. He decided to keep a 1-land hand because he had, it looked like double Faithless Looting, and now he ended up with a 3rd. So with Faithless Looting digging him 2 cards, he probably had a couple of fatties that he was totally fine with putting into his graveyard. So he's seen the opportunity to be like, oh, okay, well, I'll pitch a couple of guys, probably draw into the land that I need, and start getting it played out there. But he's just had some really unfortunate draws where those Faithless Lootings have not been able to give him the lands that he needs. Guess you shouldn't have faith in faithless cards.
Well, there's a couple of plays that I've been playing recently with your recommendations and looking on some online lists. There's a Rakdos card now that if you play that, I think the Charm, that it's able to exile their entire graveyard. A card like this against Taylor right now, would that pretty much end the game and crush him in this situation?
You know, that's one of the cards that like you'll see in a black-red aggro matchup in a sideboard. Because ultimately, though this was probably, you know, that Reanimator Frites style deck was the most powerful deck for a few weeks there, this standard metagame has actually been one that evolves very well. It has a lot of deck choices that can be competitive. So for players that like that kind of stuff, it's been a really good format. But at the same time, you're absolutely correct. Those cards can be absolutely backbreaking. So game 1, when a Frites Reanimator deck plays against anything else, it generally has a really strong matchup. But decks are boarding Rest in Peace, Purify the Grave, Rakdos, Charm, and every color seems to have an answer to a graveyard right now, and rightfully so, because there's just so much graveyard manipulation that to keep it balanced, you need something like that. So we got a Grizzly Salvage here. I'm guessing, looking at his lands here, he's going for like an Overgrown Tomb. Probably going to put the Overgrown... Well, he could go Overgrown Tomb, or... Yeah, I think he goes Overgrown Tomb here for sure.
That's going to leave him a ton of large creatures over in his graveyard with that Cradle of they're going over there too now. What's he going to have to do to pull more than one creature out of there? Just be able to play Burial Rights twice? Or is there anything else that he's going to be able to play to get those cards out onto the board?
No, it's exclusively on Burial Rights in his list. I think more or less, as I continue to look at these deck lists, I really feel that the human Reanimator has a significant advantage, at least in game 1 in this matchup, with the ability to is it Static Caster, Death Touch, shoot big creatures, as well as Zealous Conscripts taking some big guys and just swinging for the win. As far as specifically the situation where Jameson has all these creatures now in his bin, but how is he going to get them all out? He's gonna be able to play the Burial Rights twice potentially if he gets the mana. But what he's really looking to do is cast Lingering Souls and start kind of flooding the board. So I can't exactly tell. We're gonna have to actually cut that light there. There's just too much glare on the on Vince Tundo's cards to see exactly what's going on here. But from the looks of it, they have some counters on it. Maybe we could grab a life update here in a moment, because he swung with the Avacyn's Pilgrim, and I think that's a Nightshade Peddler. Maybe the die is just signaling that they're soul bonded. I don't know why he would soul bond those 2 cards. That seems like a bad play. Vince Tundo would also be at 22 off of the Huntmaster token and trigger.
Now, Huntmaster is one of the cards that recently you've been wanting to play and liking to play.
They're soul bound.
Okay.
That's a card you've been liking to play lately, John.
Is Jameson at 15?
14 to 22, Tundo.
Okay, so Jameson falls to 14 with the swing from the Pilgrim and the Peddler. The tokens were just showing that they were soulbound. And so Jameson dreadboards the Huntmaster. I think that's pretty much what he has to do. Green. black and red, black. Yep. So Tundo not sure if he had the mana to play both of those spells, but clearly he actually did. This isn't very good for Jameson. I mean, that's not really a Grizzly Salvage you want to see. I mean, it looks like another Grizzly Salvage, a Sever, a Faithless Looting. He's going to take the Kessig Wolf Run and bin the rest of them. I'm not really sure. Could we see Jameson Taylor's hand?
Restoration Angel.
All right, so let's see if he'll pick his hand up here. Yeah, he's got a Huntmaster, Restoration Angel, and a Kessig Wolf Run. We will actually be upgrading the cameras on the hand cams. The main overview cam is an HD camera. The other ones were some ones that we had. We wanted to kind of test out this feel. So any user feedback that you watchers can give us is going to help us going forward. Also, we do understand that streaming at the same time as the Star City Invitational is probably not the best way to get viewership, but I think that with some work, we can put some pretty good product out there for the guys.
Yeah, I think actually for what we've come up here at the store, it's turned out really good. The playability of the players out there is stepping it up a notch. We have quite a few guys out there that have made it pretty far in most of the local tournaments, and even some of the tournaments that you have to travel a little bit ways to get to.
Click the very top right. Don't even mess with it. Don't worry about it. Okay, so here's an Unburial Rites from Tundo, and he's going to bring back Angel of Glory's Rise. So you're going to get to see exactly what happens. So every human card in his graveyard is coming back to play. So double Huntmaster, Nightshade Peddler. So that is going to be pretty big. And this is exactly what I was talking about as far as this matchup. If we can get back to the main screen, we can get an updated life total.
That's pretty much the game ender from a rookie's point of view. You've got 2 Huntmasters coming back, which he's going to gain 2 tokens for, plus he's going to gain 4 lives on that, plus any of those other creatures that you talked about coming back. Do you really see anything that Taylor's going to be able to do to counter all these creatures attacking?
No.
So while this game kind of fizzles out and gets ready for round 2, since we have a professional here ready to tell us about the tricks and tips of Magic, what deck would you be playing in this tournament if you were playing today, John?
Well, I mean, I have my own brew that I have on posted on YouTube, the 4-color good stuff. I really like that deck, and I'm really trying to get out there and promote it because I think it is really good. There's some changes that I think can upgrade the deck, but to be entirely honest with you, I'm a huge fan of the deck that Vince Tundo's playing right now. I've been pushing some players into possibly playing it. One of the problems with that deck is it has a hard time, ironically, dealing with some of the draws that black-red aggro and some of the quicker zombie decks can pull, despite having acceleration, despite having Staticaster, Nightshade Peddler, Huntmaster, and then the Angel of Glory's Rise. One of the side abilities on that, which is definitely no slouch either, is that it actually exiles all zombies in play. But it just becomes a matter of tempo and not really what the cards do exactly in that matchup. So what I'd like to see and what I've been trying to kind of push to some people is, add some good quick removal, add some Pillar of Flames, add some Searing Spears to your sideboard. This list should just be a few cards away from having a good matchup against zombies, and considering its matchup against a lot of the other stuff's already looking pretty good. I'm really intrigued with the Human Reanimator deck. And if nothing else, I'd like to brew something that has Nightshade Peddler and Is It Staticaster, because I think that's a fantastic play. Is It Staticaster has Flash, so you're able to bring that in at instant speed, and you can do some good stuff there. All right, so with that combat, I'm not exactly sure what Jameson took versus what he blocked here. We can get a life update here in a second. Leland Bliss is going to make a quick little run for us to find out life totals, and he'll pass that information on to our controller. I want to mention Matthew Wazork. Sora. That's his tag there. He's come in and he typically streams fighting video games. And we thought that his services would be really good. And as you can tell, this is a very, very nice professional-looking live stream. Maybe you can get somebody better than me talking. And we are, for this next game, we're going to welcome back Big Jim Reed. And I'd like to thank both him and Moneymaker Sean Maloney, coming out here and doing this for us, because they've done a really good job. And, if you guys have any feedback, like I said, let these guys know. We are having some stuff that you can interact. We're going to put up some Twitter stuff. I'm not sure exactly what they have going on, but I'll make sure that they let you guys all know that. Thanks for watching.
Before you head out, John, one quick thing for anybody that is beginning to travel through Erie, Pennsylvania, or hasn't been to your store. We are highlighting, obviously, a Magic tournament today, but your store has so much more to offer. Could you just touch on a couple quick things that people would be interested in your store? We see everything when we're out there on the shelf, from video games to gaming systems, some other board games. Let people know why come into the GameCore store out of a different store selection, why you have so much things to offer, and also maybe a quick thing about the exciting online store that's going to be opening after the first of the year.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, thanks for bringing that stuff up. I think first and foremost, before we even get into the selection of everything, this store was founded on the premise that, hey, I love Magic the Gathering, and I think that every part of the world deserves to have a very dedicated Premier play. I mean, the value in these cards, and specifically Magic the Gathering, warrants there to be a good community pretty much everywhere. And so we just cater to becoming the best place that players can come to. And, the selection, it just kind of highlights that. I want to provide the opportunity for people to play the decks that they want. So we have to carry a large inventory of singles, and the only way to expand upon that would be to open a website in the same line that Ultra Reality, Channel Fireball, Star City do. So January 2nd is our prospective launch date. We're really hoping that stuff goes down without too many hitches. We'd like you guys to all check it out. The URL is actually going to be the name of the business, GameCoreOnline.com. It's right there underneath of the Facebook and Twitter if you're watching the live stream currently. And as far as why we carry video games, I think more of us Magic players play video games than read comic books. And I have nothing against comic books. I grew up collecting them myself. But I think as we watch the way that things trend, I know I'm a much bigger video game player to complement my Magic playing than comic book reading. And you'll see that on the website too. As features are added, you'll be able to buy laptops, video games, TVs. Like it's definitely, it's like the GameStop website smashed into the Star City website, and this is kind of what's fallen out of it. So that stuff's good. We're going to bring you guys the second game here with Jim Reed. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks a lot, John.
All right, well, this is James Reed back with you, bringing you Game 2 of Round 3, Vince Tundo versus Jamison Taylor. Tundo, as we saw in Game 1, got the win, playing the Angel of Glory's Rise Reanimator deck. It's the deck I'm currently on in the format at the moment, and Tundo's actually physically playing my cards at the moment, so I'm definitely a little biased here, rooting for him, but we'll have to take a look and see as Jamison gets us started with a turn 1 Blood Crypt untapped, dropping him to 18 life, and he plays a Faithless Looting.
Good to have you back here, James, after break there. This game is turning out to be a little bit more fast-paced and a little bit more exciting than the last one that we did. So it's going to be interesting to see round 2 here.
All right, well, our secondary feature match had a red deck wins player who has already finished off the band control player, so we don't have a secondary feature, so hopefully these guys take their time a little bit. And Vince Tundo with the Rootbound Crag tapped says go. Game 1 really looked to be all about the Angel of Glory's Rise deck. I didn't really, I was obviously not watching the feed, but definitely looked to be where the most of the action was on Tundo's side of the table here, and hoping to see that continue. Obviously, maybe a little more well-contested game from Jameson, though. Obviously, the more traditional Frites deck is good in and of its own right.
Yeah, if Jameson can get enough creatures out there and start causing some early round damage, it seemed like as he stalled out, that's kind of when Vince took advantage of it, and pulling that card definitely sealed the deal.
All right, well, a mulch is going to put a Restoration Angel and Thrag Tusk into the bin, 2 lands, 2 Jameson's hand. Jameson's going to be at 16 life as he took another 2 damage from that Overgrown Tomb. And Mr. Tundo is going to play a Faithless Looting of his own, discard, double on Burial Rites. So Tundo's going to need to, that's going to be a Cavern on Humans to get that Avacyn's Pilgrim out there. But Vince is going to need to get some serious pressure out on the board here. He's got the Unburial Rites waiting for the Angel, but what I do see is a lack of ways for him to really put a bunch more cards in his bin. Obviously, Chronic Flooding is the best card in his deck at doing that. I don't see one of those. Looks like there might be a Mulch there, though. Yeah, Mulch or a Peddler. If that's a Peddler, he does have the Staticaster, Nightshade Peddler combination in hand, waiting to hit the board. He'll only have 4 mana next turn, so we'll have to see how exactly he goes about it. But a Mulch here from Jameson. Pretty strong Mulch. Picks up a Wolf Run, bins a Huntmaster, Olivia, and another Grizzly Salvage, I believe. So, and we do have to get a life total update here, as Jameson Taylor is at 16. And bear with us here. Looks like we've got Leland Bliss operating the controls. As Sora stepped away for a little break of his own, John was nice enough to get us some pizza, so I think everybody's trying to get a drink and go here. So it looks like it is a Nightshade Peddler there from Vince Tundo. And we take a quick look at his hand. He's going to play a tapped Hinterland Harbor and pass the turn. Looks like 2 Izzet Staticasters in his hand, so Jameson can't really know how dead his mana dorks are here, but he's got to be hoping to draw a couple, so it could lead for some significant advantage here from Mr. Tundo.
Yeah, Jameson at least has some land out. I think last time he kept a 1-land hand, and the beginning of the game definitely was at his disadvantage, not having any mana base.
Yeah, the mana base is really the downside to these Frites decks. A lot of the control decks haven't really taken to running the Tormod's Crypts. A lot of decks do play Rest in Peace, which is obviously very good against these guys. But they're ready for it in their sideboards. And it looks as though... I don't know if we talked much about sideboards. Did you and John cover what they were going to bring in?
No, we were kind of seeing what was going to play out the first game there to make a educated guess at what they might bring in.
All right, well, it is pretty difficult to make out what Jameson has here in his sideboard. I do see a Ray of Revelation, a couple of Centaur Healers, 2 Duress, 2 O-Ring, an Ancient Grudge, 2 copies of Deathrite Shaman, 2 Liliana of the Veil, a Golgari Charm.
Why isn't Tundo attacking?
It does have an Angel of Glory's Rise, but it looks like Tundo has the edge in the graveyard fight as well, because he has access to 4 Purify the Graves, which are really, really effective here. As soon as his opponent tries to Unburial Rite something, he's got the ability to say no. And so Tundo got to untap with his Izzet Staticaster. In hand, he's got the ability to mulch, then play the Staticaster, so he's going to do that. Oh, there's that Angel. So Tundo's really looking to run away with this one here. He's going to have the Izzet Staticaster combo on the board already. He's going to get the Angel of Glory's Rise, and if there's no pressure on the board, I wouldn't be surprised to see him sit back and try to fill up his graveyard a little bit more, make sure he gets the maximum value that he can out of the Angel coming into play. And Tundo's going to attack for 1, knock Jameson to 15 here. As Jameson draws his card, looks at his hand, taking a look at what exactly that Nightshade Peddler is going to do to him here. It's definitely with the Izzet Staticaster, one of the most powerful things that you can be doing.
Well, he was able to play his 5th land, and it appears, and he should be able to, if he has one, start pulling some cards out of that graveyard.
Looks like I think I see an Angel of Glory's Rise in Jameson's hand as well. Okay, looks like he is actually taking a look at Tundo's graveyard at the moment. So, but there is an Angel of Glory's Rise in Jameson's sideboard, but considering Tundo does not have any zombies in his deck, I can't imagine that being what he goes for. But Jameson, obviously, playing a Frites deck, is able to recognize trouble when he sees it, and he's facing a pretty intimidating board state right now with double and Burial Rites, Angel of Glory's Rise in the sideboard for Vince Tundo, a Nightshade Peddler and Avacyn's Pilgrim in play, and here's the end of turn. Izzet Staticaster for Vince Tundo. There's the Staticaster. We saw him announce the pair. And that is what those dice are signifying. All right, well, now Tundo's going to have the opportunity, before he goes ahead and casts an Unburial Rites, he's going to have the opportunity to Faithless Looting one more time, give him the opportunity to bin a couple extra humans, and it looks like there's that Purify the Grave. So if Unburial Rites was a big part of Jameson's plan, he's going to be pretty disappointed to see that card from Tundo here. And Tundo with an extra Staticaster and some land to throw into the graveyard. Now, it's interesting to note that Tundo can't actually Unburial Rites and cast the Purify the Grave, so instead he's just going to mulch. And now that the Purify the Grave is, the cat's out of the bag on that one, and it's clearly there in the graveyard awaiting the flashback. So the writing seems to be on the wall here. I really like what Tundo's deck's able to do. My favorite part about the deck might just be how bad Supreme Verdict is against it. You know, when you're just laying out a bunch of humans and you Wrath of God, and all of a sudden it's not relevant and it doesn't really get you anywhere. That's pretty devastating.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Jameson just hasn't got the cards that he's been wanting to play, but both rounds now seem like he's just sitting there, waiting for something to happen, and I just don't know what he was really waiting for or looking for from my point of view.
Well, he does have a pretty expansive graveyard here, and really I think the point that Jameson's having trouble with is just that he didn't get a lot of action off of his Grizzly Salvages. He did not make it too much better on himself, in all honesty, and he's going to have a little trouble. As we take a look at Vince's hand here from the Game Core hand cam, as he flashes back the Faithless Looting. Let's see what he draws. Angel. All right. Interested to see. I think he might hold on to that Angel. I know I would, at least, since there's one in the graveyard already. It protects it from being targeted out of the graveyard and removed with a card like Purify the Grave, and gives him the ability to hardcast one out of his hand, because when your only way to put those guys into play is on Burial Rites, there's oftentimes that there's enough removal spells, counter spells, that you need more for casts. And if he can get a Cavern of Souls, obviously the counterspell isn't relevant here, but in the Bant matchup, when they're going to try to dissipate you, it's really important to have those guys in your hand. So it looks like he does send it to the bin with the Purify the Grave. He loves lands. He's got 4 of them left in hand, and he's going to get a Temple Garden down tapped, I believe. Yep, there it is. It'll activate all the buddy lands, as I like to call them, the Innistrad and the Corset ones. As Tundo attacks again, dropping Jameson down to 13. Let's go ahead and take a look at Jameson's hand here while he draws. I believe I see a Kessig Wolf Run. Not too much else is revealed here.
He's been holding on to a Dreadbore for a little while, waiting to kill something off, but nothing seems to be popping up of interest.
Well, a Peddler's pretty interesting, but the problem is the cards are, at this point, just as dangerous in the graveyard as they are in play. Because any turn that Tundo would like, he can just reanimate and really turn this game over. Just putting a whole slew of guys onto the field. So I don't have the standings in front of me. I believe Jameson is 2-0 at this point in the tournament, and I believe that Vince Tundo is 1-1. I do know. I'm sorry, 1-0-1. He drew. He has 4 points at the moment. I believe he got paired up against Jameson. It is possible they're both on 4 points, but there's that Dreadbore you were talking about. Might be a mulch. I don't know if we could get back to the main table screen here. The nice HD camera makes it a little clearer to see the cards despite the angles. Is this going to be a hard cast Angel of Serenity? It is. Alright, so this is the card that really gives Tundo fits the most. And the reason is that when he targets the, let's assume he's just going to target all 3 guys and take them, they're going to be exiled. And then in response to the ability, Tundo has the option to ping and take down the Angel, which does kill it, but he's not going to get those guys back. Because of the way the stack works, the Angel of Serenity will leave all 3 creatures in exile. The first ability on the stack is the last ability to resolve. So you target the 3 creatures, and then that's when Tundo has to go ahead and kill them, which we're seeing now. And it looks like Jameson opted to take a creature out of his graveyard, and he put a... it's going to get Purify the Grave anyways, and he's going to take Staticaster Pilgrim, maybe? Looks like we might be looking at a Judge Call. Nope. They were able to get that resolved, but...
I gotta go pick up some stuff to pass.
Alright, so the Is It Staticaster is going to remain in exile. There is another one in the graveyard here, so I think now's the perfect time for Tundo to just go ahead and slam the Unburial Rites, get the value from the guys out of his graveyard, even if there's a way that Jameson has a response or something else to do. Looks like... Ooh, we're going to look at a flashback looting here from Vince Tundo. Maybe he was thinking he had the mana from the Pilgrim, or maybe he's just still looking to keep overloading that graveyard here, but I believe he should have just pulled the trigger and gone ahead and cast the Unburial Rites. And the Purify the Grave hit the Olivia that Jameson was attempting to grab at the Angel of Serenity. Tundo plays his land and gets an Avacyn's Pilgrim. We'll do our best to get a life total update here if at all possible. Just kind of bear with us 1 second. Life total update? Can you get us a life total update?
Should be 20 to 12.
All right, it does look as though Vince Tundo took 2 life off the Temple Garden, keeping his Purify the Graves active from the graveyard to be able to be cast at instant speed. He wanted to have 2 white available. That's pretty much, in my opinion, the reason he opted not to on Burial Rites. So, see if it's detrimental to him at all. I would have liked to have seen him, like I said, push the Angel onto the field, but here we go. There's an Unburial Rites being cast from his hand for 5 mana, targeting the Angel of Serenity, and it gets purified. And a Lingering Souls follow-up from Jameson. That's just going to get eaten up by Izzet Staticasters after the Unburial Rites, which I believe Tundo is almost sure to go ahead and cast this turn. His life total is at a pretty safe number, but he'll be able to purify as backup regardless, and draws a mulch, so he's also going to be able to fill up his graveyard a little bit more, maybe grab a Huntmaster or 2 for when he reanimates. So what do you think, Sean? You're a black-red player. You want to be sitting down playing against this Angel of Glory's Rise deck?
Right now, I have mixed feelings about it. It seems like it's definitely powerful in this hand setup. Most of the time when I'm playing, if I'm not winning or coming close to winning in the first 4, 5, 6 rounds, I know I probably have lost the game. So right now I think the one strong point with the zombies, red-black zombies, they play so fast that some of these decks that play a little bit slower, if you pull the right cards, you can kind of make it. But if you don't, for sure, I definitely do not want to be playing against this after turn 6 or 7. One thing in my sideboard that I was mentioning to John, and I'm not sure if any of these guys have anything capable of doing it, is the charm that's able to exile their graveyard. You know, that would really put a hurting on one of these guys if they were building that graveyard up turn after turn, and 2-drop a charm that just wipes out everything that they were building there.
All right, well, it looks like a play mistake here from Tundo. Probably not a devastating one, though. A couple things I saw he did there. He didn't use the Avacyn's Pilgrim to tap, which I think makes him a little more vulnerable. Now Jameson's able to use the kill spell. We saw the Dreadbore in his hand. He can take Tundo off the ability to tap for white mana. One of those Avacyn's Pilgrims does have Summoning Sickness at the moment. And the other thing he did was he used the paired Izzet Staticaster to take down the 2 Lingering Souls tokens, which basically takes a Death Toucher off the board, and he could have used the one that was unpaired and just pings for 1, get rid of the 2 Lingering Souls, and left the Death Toucher back just in case. Well, maybe Tundo's out of Purify the Graves because he's sending that Avacyn's Pilgrim sideways in the red zone. Going to take Jameson down to 11 life. And we'll take a peek at Jameson's hand here and see what we're able to see.
That is one thing as a new player. The zombies and the vampires and some of the basic creatures are much simpler to play for a new player, and I think I've been having some success just because looking at these, the amount of combinations and everything, and the play errors and play mistakes for a new player would just, you know, you'd be making them all the time. These guys are definitely at a much higher level, and like you're pointing out, there's a couple little players here and there that could cost you the game.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and the play from Tundo of using what I believe to be the incorrect Staticaster won't really make a difference here, because looking at the hand, we see Sever the Bloodline. I think that's a Kessig Wolfrun and a Dreadbore, and we can head back to the main table here. The Sever the Bloodline is going to attack the Izzet Staticasters. So those are both in exile. Now he's going to be able to flash that back next turn. Unfortunately, though, he's just not going to be able to hit multiple Angel of Glory's Rises. But we're going to see an Unburial Rites, and we'll see if maybe that Purify the Grave is in the graveyard. He's not going to go ahead and look for us right now. But if that if that Purify is there, this is a fairly large tactical mistake here, as an Angel of Serenity drops for Jameson Taylor, who could potentially be taking this game back over. He's going to opt to put some creatures from his graveyard into play underneath exiled underneath the Angel of Serenity, and I see 2 creatures.
It looked like Is that a Gristlebrand that was coming in underneath there?
Yep, and he's also going to go ahead and take the Angel of Glory's Rise. So Vince Tundo needs to draw a Staticaster here. There's a Faithless Looting from Tundo. Sounds like we got about 5 minutes left on the clock here. I'm not sure if our listeners can hear that round timer going off. And Kitten, we appreciate the input. Next event, we will certainly try to have at least the round indicator up on the banner here. That's something that we can easily change for the next one here. We'd have to likely take the stream down in order to do it now. So we're just going to stay live with you and update you as we are in Game 2 of Round 3, approaching time on the clock of the Game Core Series Championship, the second edition of this tournament, and getting ready to kick off Season 3 here at the Game Core Championship. So more Faithless Looting from Tundo. Just going to take a look and discard a Huntmaster and a Temple Garden. Could have cast the Huntmaster here. He did not tap to be able to cast it, but we'll have to wait and see what he does. He's got the Chronic Flooding, which I think might be the best card in his deck. And there is a Purify the Grave here, so if Tundo opted not to attack Jameson Taylor for 1, he would have been able to keep his Angel, everything. He would have been able to keep Jameson off of another Unburial Rites. And we'll have to see. It'll be interesting to see how exactly that plays out. Jameson has to read Chronic Flooding. Kind of a new card, but I can tell you right now it is the most powerful self-mill engine for these Frites decks, which have generally taken to not playing blue except for this human version.
Now, Huntsmaster, that's a card that I've been seeing a lot lately. With its ability to create a wolf creature and give you 2 lives, is there a reason that he would have thrown that away? Being a beginner player still, I probably would have kept a card like that. What's the strategy on not putting him out onto the board, gaining an extra creature, having the ability to flip into a more powerful creature to really take the life away from Taylor here?
Well, I think it signals that he is essentially looking to be able to cast an Unburial Rites on an Angel next turn. Generally speaking, the Chronic Flooding is going to bin 6 cards for him. And I believe he's seen 2 Angels of Glory's Rise so far. He's got 1 underneath the Angel of Serenity. The other one, I believe, is in exile from the first cast on that Angel of Serenity. And we update life totals here. Tundo's at 6, Jameson Taylor's at 11. And there's that Angel of Glory's Rise. So now Tundo's going to gain some life, restock his board. And unfortunately, no Izzet Staticasters to my knowledge. But how many Thrag Tusks? Or, I'm sorry, not Thrag Tusks. Huntmaster the Fells. There's the Izzet Staticaster. Okay, so this is actually a game here. Now Tundo's got 1 mana floating. Use that flooding, which, as I was talking about, just so powerful and really showing it here. That should be a Cavern Naming Angel. And there's really no play other than, his opponent's tapped out. There's really no play other than Unburial Rites, grab the Angel. This should be a back-breaking, game-winning play here. Tundo's going to gain 8. We're going to wait till the Unburial Rites occurs to update the life totals. But for now, Tundo sits at 8. Gets his wolf. And here comes the Unburial Rites. Angel of Glory's Rise hits, Izzet Staticaster, 2 Huntmaster of the Fells, a 3rd Avacyn's Pilgrim, and I think that's it as far as humans goes. Really going to help Tundo set himself up nicely here. Gained him some life. He does have a Kessig Wolf run to deal with, but he's going to gain an Angel of Glory's Rise when he kills the Angel on Jameson's side of the board. So with Tundo at 12, the Angel has 5 power, and he can give it an extra 8 if he draws and plays a land here, so he can pump by 8, which means Tundo has to block or shoot with the Is It Staticaster, otherwise he's not going to survive this turn. He should be able to make his opponent pump with the Wolf Run before he takes it down, which should make sure that he time walks the turn, but we're looking at a Dreadbore, I believe a Huntmaster. I'm not sure what the third card is in hand. It could be an Angel too, it might not be a Huntmaster. I'm not sure how the custom art's been on the flip cards for them. Alright, Jameson's making a play here. It's going to have to be a good one. Alright, so this is, as we approach time, this is just game 2. It's a pretty pivotal moment here. Tundo seems to have the board pretty well locked down. Obviously, he's got a more impressive number of creatures, but that just doesn't tell the full story. He does have the 3 wolf tokens we can't see, and I'm pretty sure if Jameson's not able to make a solid impact on the board this turn, he's going to be facing defeat on Tundo's next attack step, but looks like it's going to be another Angel of Serenity dropping for Jameson, and that's depending on his targets. I'm curious to see how Vince will handle this, because now he's able to kill both Angels with 1 tap and activation from Is It Staticaster. They'll both go away. There's Vince getting his Angel of Glory's Rise back, and a Restoration Angel and a Grizzlebrand go into the hand for Jameson as well.
I'm just coming back to the game here, James. I stepped away for a second. Today, some of the event is sponsored by Ball's Energy Drink as well as Hers Chips, and they just showed up to drop off some free samples for everybody out there on the gaming floor. I'd like to thank them for their donations and their help of making this a successful event as well. So, do you think having that Grizzlebrand and that other card come back into his hand, Grizzlebrand is obviously a pretty powerful card, gaining lives, gaining cards. Is that going to be enough to help him out in this game, or?
Well, it's going to be interesting because Vince is really running out of Is It Staticasters very quickly. More and more of them are sitting in exile. That's 2. Not exactly 100% sure what's going on with the board state here. It'll be interesting to see, but even if there is an Angel on the board for Jameson, Vince will be able to attack with in the area of 20 damage, and then he doesn't do anything, passes the turn. His Huntmasters flip. All 3 Huntmasters now going under the Angel of Serenity, but that just leaves Vince with an Is It Staticaster and a Nightshade Peddler, which means Vince is going to get those Huntmasters back. So I don't agree with that play here. But we'll have to wait and see exactly how this all plays out. Jameson spent a good amount of time checking out Vince's graveyard, and rightfully so, as I believe these players are into their time extension right now. Now, Sean, I just want to take this chance, as you were talking about all the freebies that the players get that come down to play in the events. All of you listening on the stream and watching the stream now, you will have your opportunity to go ahead and we're going to do a giveaway here, and hopefully try and promote some more people to come check out the stream. So please do us a favor, go ahead and let your friends know that you're watching the GameCore stream online on Twitch TV, twitch.tv/GameCores. and hopefully we'll be able to get the number of viewers up here. And if we get the number of viewers up into the couple hundreds, I'll go ahead and lean on John to maybe give away a pretty expensive prize. I don't know how expensive I can talk him into yet, but we'll I don't know, maybe a box, half a box. We'll figure something out. You get us a couple people, 100 people in this channel, and I guarantee you all, John will be in a good mood and in a giving season, or I'm sorry, in a Christmas giving mood, I should say, considering the season.
I 100% agree with you. Coming down to the store here and participating in the events, or even participating by just viewing online. Every person that gets in front of what we're doing here and working hard at GameCore to accomplish, it's going to be a win for everybody down the road. The more people involved, there's definitely going to be more prizes, more giveaways, and it looks like that game's wrapping up. Can you give us the highlight of what happened there?